imagine. Most of the studies were neurology because that's the big, heavy user of robotic surgery at the moment. And sadly, there wasn't one big systematic review on thoracic surgery. My team are working on that right now, and hopefully we'll be able to share that with you at some point in the future. Just to say that in terms of quality, only 2 out of 27 papers have the highest quality, and a third of them were of critically low quality. So there was a large variation here, sadly. In terms of comparison, and this is just top level before I break down into real numbers, compared to open surgery, only 2 studies said that there was a decreased cost with robotics, of course, and there was a handful of studies that looked at minimally invasive surgery compared to robotics. So the vast majority were either laparoscopic or VATS compared to open surgery. The absolute costs, just to give you a feel, for robotic surgery ranged between just under $2,000 per case to $64,000 per case. For VATS or laparoscopy, it ranged between $441 to $55,000, and open surgery ranged from $960 to $42,000. Just to let you know that most people use dollars as their metric. A lot of the papers do come are international, but they use American dollars as their base rate to compare against. But of course, that doesn't tell you too much, right? Simple cost is not telling you everything you need to know. So in terms of some of the clinical outcomes we used in terms of the determinants of utilization, length of stay for open was a median of 16 days compared to 12 for robotic surgery. Length of stay for minimally invasive, whether it's laparoscopic or VATS, was 14 days compared to 12 days again for robotic. In terms of operative time, robotics tended to be longer. So open robotic was in the order of 120 minutes median versus 100 minutes for open surgery, and for compared to laparoscopic or VATS, they were almost parity. There were in terms of median time, although robotic did tend to be a little bit longer. And the range was, for that particular case, it was a range of 78 to 585 minutes compared to 75 to 430 minutes, which, depending on how you appraise that, whilst statistically was significantly longer, wasn't significantly longer in terms of an impact on actual health systems practice. There was a significant decrease of complications with robotic surgery, but the way that this was measured across the different studies wasn't uniform. And so there wasn't a simple metric that one could meta-analyze to say that complications were this much lower in robotics, but it was noted that it was absolutely the case that robotics across the board, whether compared to open or VATS or laparoscopic surgery, was almost uniformly better in terms of postoperative complications. That said, in terms of the actual cost effectiveness here, 12 studies talked about ISAs, 11 had a cost utility analysis, only 18 out of 27 actually had all the A, B, C, D, E framework that I had mentioned to you, mentioning all their assumptions, their timeframes, etc. 4 talked about incremental cost, and 2 did budget